Oh, and the other thing, I had slightly mentioned this before we started talking about Orphea. Mal'Ganis is playable tonight, and we haven't gotten to see a lot of coordinated play Mal'Ganis just because he came out so late into the season, and a lot of Open Division and other leagues kind of wrapped up before he was playable. What have your
Sure.
experiences been with him so far, Pally?
He's been very strong. There's a lot of problems with his sleep at lower pleb levels. I can tell you that much. I think it can be a really powerful combo, especially if you pair him with maybe a Medivh or just someone to set up a massive sleep. I also think he's very survivable. It does a lot of damage, but I don't think he's as scary at high levels, to be honest. I think it's a lot easier to counter.
First Ahaka ban coming out. Global off the table. Good wave clear, so pretty predictable ban. I got to cast a little bit of Tespa this past weekend, and we saw a couple games with Mal'Ganis coming in, and it was just really interesting to see how teams try to utilize him as a main take or as an offlaner, because we got to see both. And the thing about offlane Mal'Ganis is that it just takes so much of his of using his abilities to get that wave clear, and so you end up just kind of like sitting there going through, kind of like slamming everything on the keyboard to make that happen. So he struggles there, in my opinion, but he also, just because of the way that he likes to engage and is very set up to have more of that flanking style, also tricky in the main tank role. So I'm really curious if we see him tonight to see how teams have figured out how they maybe want to break him out. But catching up on the bans, got rid of the Blaze again for that wave clear, getting rid of that bunker off the table. Yabithur and Maya. Maya getting so much value on Infernal Shrines.
She does a lot of damage. A lot of shrine damage too. She can wave clear and kill all of the enemies. So containment disc also very scary. If you're gonna take a 5v4, then on the shrine is the place to do it, right? So makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. RPI picking up Johanna in the first rotation, which is actually a little bit surprising. I don't think she's necessarily so risky in taking in the first rotation that with the first pick you don't let her through and maybe pick up something more likely to be stolen by the opposite team, where we see actually our boy Mal'Ganis and Tyrande getting picked up in the 1-2 for T.B.A.
Maybe the Tyrande stun will set him up pretty nicely. Or it might be offlaner, like you said before. Could potentially be offlaner Mal'Ganis, but I don't know. I don't know about the Johanna first. I think there are so many better options there. But that's pretty strong. Hanzo, Alexstrasza. Hanzo clearly very good on the shrine, very good against the other heroes, and Alexstrasza arguably her best map. So that's not a bad way to round that out.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of saw a drop off in Alexstrasza toward the end of the Open Division season in Phase 2, and even in kind of pro levels, as we saw, the Tyrande rework coming in. We saw a lot more of her and Stukov coming into the picture. So she kind of had a drop off. And so right now what I'm sensing from RPI is it's a bit older of a style, at least early on in this draft, but still potentially very strong here on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, definitely. And we haven't seen a Genji yet. I know he doesn't have much wave clear, but that's strange that he falls this low. Or maybe not even going to be picked at all. But Kerrigan, of course, Kerrigan's best map too. She could clear the shrine alone.
She can clear it alone. She has so much potential here. Pally, hold the door. Hold everything, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves a Cho'Gall here in game number 1. RPI just saying, you know what? Let's do it. It's a best of 1. We got one chance to pull it out, so let's go all the way. The Malthael, though, is going to have a great time eating up that Cho'Gall.
This is main tank Annis.
Yep. Yes, it is.
That's
so
very strange to me.
Hopefully on the side of T.B.A, they're able to, maybe they've figured out the trick for really having...
Taking notes.
Taking notes. Keep an eye on those builds, ladies and gentlemen, as well. Also didn't talk about the Rainer. Really good, damage output, potential for, really poking onto the Alexstrasza or the Hanzo in particular if we see that Raider. I've been seeing Hyperion come out a lot more just for, especially on Infernal Shrines, of control of that area to say, just simply get out of here, enemies. We don't just zone it, just zone it. So wonder if we'll see that or if we'll see the traditional Rainer's Raider. But only time will tell, and it's only a couple seconds. So, Pally, who wins the draft for you here?
I mean, I don't want to go against Cho'Gall, but this is a really big map. It's a little bit harder to run this on such a giant map because you kind of lack that lane clear. I really do like the Tyrande Kerrigan combo. Really nice, and the Malthael kind of counters that Cho'Gall. So, but I mean, I don't know about the Mal'Ganis as the main tank. I'm just gonna go with Cho'Gall.
Money in the Cho'Gall. Yeah, it's hard for me. I feel like Mal'Ganis is still a very big question mark in my mind that I can't necessarily put the draft one way or another. But regardless, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a very interesting game ahead of us. So let's get these teams introduced. In the blue, we do have RPI, Heroes of the Dorm. We are going to have on show Armis. Alexstrasza will be played by OSX Vista. Alexander will be on the Johanna, Titan Lord on the Gaul, and Dewide on Hanzo.
And on the right side, T.B.A, we have Camille on Malthael, Funbuns on the Rainer, Hunter CJ on the Mal'Ganis, JTR on the Kerrigan, and BN on the Tyrande.
Level 1, we have Winged Guard coming out for Mal'Ganis. So additional armor if that Necrotic Embrace does hit an enemy, given on basic attacks afterwards. So definitely leaning toward getting that armor, keeping Mal'Ganis a bit more alive in some of those dicier situations that he really tries to get himself into with the nature of that sleep.
Yeah, and we have a little bit unconventional level 1 on Rainer. We have Veteran Marksman instead of Ace in the Hole and Executioner or whatever that other one is called for the clear on that Punisher.
Yeah, I'm surprised more people don't take Executioner on something like Infernal Shrines, or even Battlefield of Eternity, right? I just feel like it provides so much value in, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, betting that you lose the Immortal, which is not necessarily a position you want to be planning for. So I understand it maybe in that regard of why Veterans Marksman is the pick, but even still, surprised that it's not Ace in the Hole coming out, as both these teams simply rotating around the map, trying to starting.
Can we look at Hanzo?
Yeah.
Target practice.
Both these teams are just pulling up some very interesting talents here for sure. Started the game, and I mean, we saw the Cho'Gall, we got the Mal'Ganis, so we knew we were going into something really special here for game number 1 on Infernal Shrines for the evening. JTR using that good old Kerrigan damage to get through that camp. Additional shields coming out as well. Cho'Gall going in, trying to get the damage onto Kamel. Healing up just fine for the time being.
And we have the Johanna soloing top. That's not something you normally see, but I guess when you're running a Cho'Gall comp, Cho'Gall's always going to have to be with that Alexstrasza, so you have no choice there.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe Dewide actually lanes with the Johanna and kind of do a 2-2-1 with or I guess that's a 3-2. So you do risk a lane being open at that point. Alexstrasza, though, getting absolutely pummeled by this rotation from T.B.A here, who are starting to encroach a small level lead as we start getting closer to the shrine activating.
And they're taking that Bruiser camp, which is going to be really strong. Great timing for this. It's going to be pushing that top fort during the shrine. Someone's going to have to deal with that, or that fort's gone. A very, very strong camp early on.
Yeah, it's a great pickup, kind of capping that right as the shrine is activated, so that's something RPI going to have to keep an eye on here. Can't let that camp push too much without responding, but they are starting with the Skeletal Defender clear. doing really well. We still have the Dragon Queen waiting to pop out. The Lunar Flare misses, and there is a Dragon Queen popped.
I think it's not gonna help too much though, because Malthio's just gonna heal off of that Cho'Gall, so he looks low right now, but he's not gonna have trouble healing from that. Or tapping. I guess he's just going away. And with the Hanzo target practice, we're not gonna see as much Shrine clear.
Hunter going in deep. Cho'Gall taking a lot of damage. And those two boys attached at the hip are going to fall, but Alexander getting really low. Hunter trying to get the kill, but Johanna trying to get away, ends up falling in the end. T.B.A. now starting to work a bit more on their skeletal defender count. They might actually pull this away from RPI, who had such a lead in that calculated kill against Cho'Gall, giving them the opportunity to come in and get Punisher #1 in this game.
Yeah, I think they responded very well to the Cho'Gall without even knowing that Cho'Gall was going to be drafted, because their first half of it, Hunter's Mark, Kerrigan's good, Rainer's good, and then of course Malthio just kind of chunks Cho'Gall. So it's really hard, especially early game, for him to go against that.
Yeah, and good point about that. The late game definitely, as we know, Cho'Gall really excels in. And so for the beginning parts of this match, RPI, it would have been great for them to kind of get that objective, and the first one's not mission critical. I feel like if maybe they end up giving up the second, the Punisher on this map, that they're going to start looking in a really rough position to ever get Cho'Gall in that position that he needs to be in to succeed. They're already down a level. If Cho'Gall's playing from behind, it becomes kind of risky. And so if you can get 16 before that Cho'Gall, if you open up the map before he really turns on in this game, it's going to be hard, I think, for RPI to really make a turnaround there.
I completely agree. Cho'Gall is very difficult early game, but T.B.A. has so many tools to counter that Cho'Gall, so I don't know if they needed to commit to it, but now that they have, I'm ready for late game.
Yeah, and as is RPI, but T.B.A. doing everything they can to make sure things stay in their favor for the early parts of this game. They've had really good camp control so far. They've been constantly holding down control of the bottom neutral camp as well, so causing a little bit of push, forcing the resources of RPI to split. And as we were talking about before, the kind of resource spread that they've opted for, there is one lane consistently open on the side of RPI, and Kerrigan has been pushing it, but now the focus is on Cho'Gall, who is going to go down for the second time in this game, giving level 10 over to the side of T.B.A.
Veterans Marksman is now making a lot of sense. That is just chunking down Cho'Gall. So that was a very smart pick by the Rainer.
Yeah, we should have the altar spawning fairly soon. We do see the Hyperion picked up for Rainer, which I shouldn't be that excited about, but I actually am very excited about, for sure. It just has such great zoning potential on areas like the Shrine in pushes with those Punishers. So I feel like it gets a lot more value here on Infernal Shrines than something like the Raiders Raider.
It does. I agree. You can use it on the Shrine. You can use it to push into a fort. You can use it to just kill the enemy team in the middle of the lane. It just has a lot of uses, especially on this map. It does a lot of damage to the Punisher too, so you can use it as that resource if needed.
And if T.B.A. is able to get this fort down before that Shrine even activates, they're set up so well for a push if they can get it. And RPI are still waiting on level 10 themselves. They're going to have to wait a while before even thinking about contesting the Shrine. Cho'Gall trying to see if maybe they can get the damage onto JTR, but to no avail. Cho'Gall is alone here, surrounded by 4 members. Dwight comes in for a bit of support on that Hanzo. Lunar Flare going out, stunning all 3 members of RPI in that bush for now. 10 soon here. This is the opportunity. JTR hanging in the bush, trying to spot the rotations, waiting for Malthio, kind of keeping vision on things.
And RPI is gonna need to take this fight too, because 13 is almost online for T.B.A. and you don't want to see that happen.
Upheaval coming out from Cho'Gall, but there is the Hyperion immediately coming out as well. Rainer trying to get the damage out to onto that Cho'Gall. Hunter coming in with the
Last
swipe. The
rights.
last rights is out, and Cho'Gall going down again. And we have 3 members already. Alex Straza was taking out as well. Johanna is going to beat at 4. Fun Buns, though, getting very low to wide, trying to see if maybe the angles is there for the shot to get the finishing blow onto Rainer, but it is not to be. Kerrigan working solo on that top altar into wide, trying to maybe just keep vision, ends up giving his life.
This is why you get Kerrigan on shrines. 1 auto attack kills each minion. And the rest of the team could do anything.
This is what we were saying about why we were confused about the very early Johanna pick. Because even though we saw the Mal'Ganis and the Tyrande in the 1-2 from T.B.A, you could have picked up the Kerrigan for yourself, still, even your own 2-3 at that point, but instead going for this very interesting Cho'Gall comp on the side of RPI, just being able to give all those tools in favor of T.B.A, and they have been utilizing them so well. They know exactly where Kerrigan needs to focus. At this point, Kerrigan is less kind of dive assassin, and she is kind of keeping up lane pressure everywhere and focusing on that wave clear, and she's really great at it at this point now. And we are just seeing a 3-level lead in favor of T.B.A. They are just playing everything so well in this first match.
Yeah, and as you said, Kerrigan's more of just putting pressure in the lanes because she's not needed necessarily to kill the enemy team, especially since Rainer and Malthael can take out the Cho'Gall. And then Kerrigan can just, do Kerrigan things, run around, grab camps, jump on buildings, take the shrine.
She's a leapy one. She's quite the leapy one. There's a very interesting camp pickup from RPI, trying to get a little bit of pressure going in that mid lane as they attempt to defend this Immortal now, working on the keep. It is baited over. Johanna pulling it through. The Iron Skin is used. Hunter, though, approaching that keep, and it's looking like this keep might potentially fall, Pally.
Yeah, this should be keep. They might even be able to go for game here. They do have a 4-level lead. They might wait till 16. But there's no harm in trying to take this down now. They're not missing any forts or anything. So even if they wipe, they don't lose the game here. There's no harm in trying.
Yeah, no harm in trying. The Hyperion is out. The damage going out, though, onto T.B.A. Camille almost going down, but surviving for the time being. But Cho'Gall looks like does not want for this word. Ends up going down. Hanzo, again, is the lone survivor of this push, of this team fight. And this core is being shredded down by T.B.A. GGs are going out, and it looks like this game going over to T.B.A, taking out RPI Heroes of the Dorm in this match.
Wow. Cho'Gall, first game.
So, I mean, that's what happens when you draft a Cho'Gall and can't get yourself a very early lead. And we just saw how much RPI kind of struggled with keeping up with lane clear, given their composition. They were using Johanna as the off lane, like you mentioned, which is definitely not her strong suit. And T.B.A. being able to say, we're going to keep up on macro, we're going to spread our resources, we're going to make sure we have lanes pushed, we're going to make sure we're getting objectives. And they ended up snowballing in the early game. They were able to just keep things constantly in their favor. We're seeing 16 kills to 0 for them as well. Just walking all over that Cho'Gall traffic sugar.